Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So we have ended with a tepid week on the Wall Street, and although you can see all the indices, I'm talking about Dow Jones, S&P 500 or NASDAQ, they are moving up one day, down one day, but at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or I would say at the end of the last 2 weeks, there is no such movements which actually puts any indices. I'm not talking about all, but if any of them give us clear signal, then it will be an exclusion, but that does not happen, and all of them are trading in between a range, and that range is not at all giving a right signal as of now. Okay, I will explain you what and why, and other things which has actually impacted the market in the last 1 week, and which will probably impact the market in the upcoming week. So welcome you all to another session of USA Weekly Market Report series. So this is one of those moments where you can get the crux of the overall Wall Street in a nutshell, and you will get to know the important events that has impacted the market and that will probably impact the market along with the chart analysis. And so we have started this week, or we have ended this week rather, with geopolitical events. Obviously this is not good. Geopolitical events always an uncertainty, because it starts from a small thing and it can go up bigger, and it will turn into something called biggest. Apart from that, geopolitical tension, on one side US and China, then another side Russia and Ukraine. Apart from that, we have the massive earthquake where thousands and thousands of people have died. So you know rest in peace to all of them, and we all hope and pray for the best to happen going forward, and things will recover as soon as possible. That's what at least I can pray. We can't do much, but whatever we can, to the lowest possible thing, if we can do something, then obviously we have to do, on the basis of humanity. That's what I can say. Apart from that, let us see, because last week was devastated if you are looking at the geographical events and the natural calamities that has happened, not only in one place but across the globe, and that has impacted economies, that has literally impacted economies. And apart from that, UK narrowly avoids recession in the back half of 2022 despite December slump. Now we are not out of the woods yet, because I was looking into some data, and if possible I will show it to you. And everybody is talking about how good the US economy is, but go and check out the ISM month on month, or the manufacturing index, industrial prime manufacturing index, because it is one of those indicators which will give you a clear signal. And for the last 3 months it's been trading, or it's been falling down from 50 to 49 to 47, actually below 50. We called it as a recessionary phase for the economy, and for the last 3 months it's been continuously down. So I don't know, because data is saying something else, and market analysts, and in some of the cases market veterans, are saying that they are not going to be a recession. But maybe they are right, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as data is concerned, I still believe that recession will happen, and I don't know the extent of it, but you cannot walk away or run away from recession. Apart from that, oil prices post gains after Russia says it will cut output by 500,000 barrel a day. Now this is another thing. So as I've said, geopolitical, geographical, geo-economical, everything is geo. Last week was geo, and when we are talking about something which starts with geo, then obviously the impact of those things will last long. It's not going to come, it's not going to just pop up and fade away next day. It's not going to happen. Apart from that, Japanese yen jumps on report that Kazuo Yoda will be next governor of the central bank. Now I'm not saying that I don't know the next governor of the central bank, but when Japanese yen jumps, it simply means he is the indication at least is he is an hawkish kind of person, and that's why the currency started jumping higher, which means an appreciation in the currency, and which simultaneously means the stock market will slump. Okay, this is the standard disclaimer which you can make out of it, but how the market and other things will react, that we will get to know, because Japanese economy, it's like a sleeping giant. Nobody talks about it, but when it moves and moves very fast, then obviously everybody will get impacted. And when we are talking about Japanese yen, it is one of the contributor to dollar index as well, so it will get impacted. uh, apart from that I think this is most of it, and because major events were affected by geopolitics, and inflation is not going to fade away, because the kind of events we have across the world is indicating that you cannot go, as far as interest rate is concerned, you cannot go beyond a certain point. That's the first, I would say, barrier which central banks have. And at the same time, inflation is not going to go down very easily because of the devastating events, or natural calamities that are happening. So food crisis is will one of the, which I personally believe, not even in the short term but going forward in the long term, will become a very serious problem. So we need to rethink, and global leaders must work on it on immediate effect, because it has a big potential to destroy economy, to destroy lives of the people, and it's going to happen in a very massive way. So it may be a one-liner statement, but it will definitely create an impact. And when Mother Nature will show her fierce face, then obviously nobody is going to escape from that. So this is something which we must understand. Apart from that, let's deep dive into the market and let us see what has happened. I think the most important thing to look at as far as the markets are concerned will be the dollar index, because dollar index is showing you something, or which has the potential to impact or to drive the market, because dollar index is giving you different pictures. It is literally giving you different pictures. And although let's first discuss about the Friday's close. So Dow Jones up by 169 point, NASDAQ down by 71 points. So these are both crisscross the impact, and you will see just a flat move on S&P 500 8 points higher. Gold at 1876, oil nearly $80. Then US yield has started spiking up. It went down to 3.4. Now it is trading at 3.7 US 10-year yield. VIX started spiking up a bit as of now. Apart from that, these are all fine. Yeah, you can clearly see now bond yields, 4.6 for 1 month, 4.7. Whatever you are saying, I've been shouting for the last 2 or 3 months that bond yield will never give you a wrong indication. It's very hard to change the direction of a bond market, because it's a giant market. You can tamper stock market, but you cannot tamper bond market. And when bond market is indicating that the curve is on the inverted side, so yield curve has already been inverted, and it's been there for the last couple of months. I'm not talking in terms of stock market. You can manage stock market, but I'm talking about economy, and it is giving clear indication that economy will be in recession. Forget about the timing. Okay, the core data which give you a clear sense of indication that economy will be in recession is giving you, just look at this number. For 1 month yield, you are getting 4.6%, which simply means the uncertainties in the near term is so high that people are charging 4.6, and similarly on 10-year and 30-year yield you are getting 3.7 and 3.8%. If you go for 3-month yield or 6-month yield, 6-month yield is the highest, 4.9. And you can just have a sense of it, what does it means. I have been telling this thing for the last 2-3 months, and let's see what will happen. I cannot say much on that. Things are very clear, and when economy falls down, don't blame on the stock market, don't blame on the capitalistic guys, because one must take blame. If I lose money, I can't blame others. If you lose money, you can't blame others. That's the society we are living in. Okay, so we need to understand this. The most important thing I would think is the dollar index, which I'm going to explain first, and then we are going to see the important indices and other financial instrument which will create an impact. So let's start, because dollar index from 101 to 103.58, so it's been an appreciation in the dollar index, and which will definitely drive the market. Because if you are looking at the dollar index, and most specifically the weekly chart, I'm talking about the hourly chart here just for the sake of analysis, but you go and check out the weekly chart, you will see that oversold. You will see the RSI, everything is oversold, and from there dollar index started moving higher. So when dollar index is giving you a clear signal, or a signal, at least a signal that it's going to move higher, you need to believe it. For dollar index, we have our support at 103.44 and stop loss of 102.78. Okay, so if it continues to sustain above both these levels, the immediate target that we have here is 105.82. okay, that's going to be the immediate target, but there is an extension. Let me show it to you. So you can see this is your previous range, right? You can see this is your previous range. This was your previous range, and the breakdown happened, and dollar index moving down and down and down, and right now from the lows of 100.6 to 103.58, and if it continues to sustain above 103.44, we will move towards 105.82. but as I told you, there will be an extension, and if that extension happen, it will be in between 108 and 108.2. okay, 107, 108. So this is the extension which we are probably going to look at. So which simply means in the short term, even if there is a consolidation that is happening in the stock market indices, but looking at the dollar index, it is not giving us a positive signal. Now if the stock indices continues to consolidate rather than moving rather than going down, that's a different thing, but dollar index will set the tone, and dollar index is saying that things are not at all looking good. Now let's start analyzing the equity indices. First of all, Dow Jones is trading in between a range, and for the last 2 weeks, or it's not 2 weeks, from December, for the last 2 or 3 months, it's unable to make a breakout. It hits the resistance and moving up and down. So you may call it as a positive move, you may call it as a negative move, because first of all, those who say that it's going to be a negative move because for the last 2-3 months it unable to make a breakout, or it unable to sustain above 34,424 or 425. That's the first statement. Second will be because it's a positive one, and it is a positive one because even if the breakout does not happen, the Dow Jones continues to hold on and trade very near to the highs. So that's the positive statement. So right now we have 33,360, which is going to be our stop loss. If you want to go long, you must make sure that Dow Jones is not falling below 33,360, and on the upside you have your two targets or other resistance at 34,284 and 34,425. If a breakout happens beyond 34,425, and if Dow Jones sustain above that's condition, then we will go for 35,497, 35,833, and the upside will stretch up to 36,986. So everything is conditional. Upside will open up if only Dow Jones sustain above 34,425. Talking about NASDAQ, which has given you superb return. I mean, NASDAQ is something which has literally made its move. Okay, and this is one of those indices which actually holds the market, because there are stocks which has literally doubled from, and I'm talking about big stocks. Okay, and as far as NASDAQ is concerned, right now NASDAQ is trading in between a range. NASDAQ is trading in between a range, and the range that I'm talking about now on the downside, first of all, NASDAQ, if NASDAQ continues to sustain above 11,575, if it does not fall below that, the uptrend is intact, and we will wait for the NASDAQ to surpass 12,043 or 12,050. Once it started trading above 12,050, move for 13,150, 160 will open up. Okay, as simple as that. So let it sustain. Let's see how NASDAQ will move, and if it continues to sustain above 11,575, it's a good thing. And once it started trading above 12,050, further down upside will open up, but not not right now. And just make sure that NASDAQ is not falling below the support level, which is 11,575. Otherwise, it would be a problem. Similarly, on the S&P 500, because S&P 500 reflects, or the close it reflects will be the NASDAQ and not Dow Jones. So make sure S&P 500 is sustaining above 4100. If S&P 500 trades above 4100, otherwise it is in a negative territory. It went up and it made a high of 4195, but right now it is trading below 4100, so it is indeed a negative sign. So let it sustain above 4100 if you want to take a positive bet. Okay, and if it continues to trade below 4100, then sooner rather than later it will move towards 3871. That's also a thing which we need to look at. So I mean, it is giving you a dual picture, S&P 500, because it is trading very near to the breakout zone. A breakout may happen, but if it does not happen, if S&P 500 unable to sustain above 4100, then a further downside will open up going forward. So you need to be a bit more cautious when you are looking at the market and indices, and let's find your comfort zone before taking any trade. Okay, it would be very dangerous for you. Now Bitcoin is something which I would also want to explain, because it's been moving higher. Okay, it's been moving higher, and many people have started talking about it, that the downside is over, and they have started taking punt on it. But let us see what the trend is saying. And if I may draw a line like this, you can see a breakout. But on the another hand, let me show you the another view. Okay, now Bitcoin is facing resistance near to its previous highs as well, so it's stuck in between a range. Now you can see how does it looks like. So if you want to see further move on Bitcoin, let it surpass $25,576. If it sustain above $25,576, then it will be a breakout. And if it falls below $21,200, then a further downside will open up, and the next target or next support will be or in between 14,000 and 14,500. So it's a very tricky situation. Right now Bitcoin is trading in between this range. So if you want to go long, wait for Bitcoin to surpass 25,576, and simultaneously on the downside, let's wait for the Bitcoin to fall below 21,200 for next support of 14,400. So the picture is not clear. Okay, the picture is not at all clear for Bitcoin. Whatever upside has to happen in the short term, I think it has already done. Apart from that, VIX went up to 21.9, but it has started falling again. But let us see the indicators, what the indicators are telling you. Okay, and you can see the the weekly indicators. It has already bottomed out and it is indicating, it is indicating an up move. So VIX indicating an up move is also something which one must not ignore, because if VIX started moving higher, it is not going to be a good indication for the stock market, because it is simply telling you, VIX is simply telling you that the volatility is going to increase, which means stock price may get affected in a negative way going forward. So on the downside, VIX has tested 19.5 and 17.2, and if it started moving higher, we will move towards 34. And we know VIX can move very sharp on both the sides. And if you are looking at the trend, it is indicating that don't consider it for the next 1 week. It may move up in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and the VIX is at least giving you an indication that for the next 1.5 to 2 months, things are about to change in the short term. Obviously 2 months is not at all a big time, but if market turns volatile, everybody started feeling jittery. So this is something which we are going to look at as far as the VIX is concerned. So I mean, there is a mixed signal which we are getting as far as the overall US market going forward is concerned. So be a more cautious person. So don't try to just jump into the market just because you are thinking some bottom has been placed, even though a bottom has been bottom has been formed in any stock. For the long term, it's not going to move up in the short term. So you need to do a SIP kind of approach where you put some money time after time and time again, and you will reap the fruits after 3, 4 or 5 years. That could be the scenario that will pop up right now, but in the short term, things are getting riskier. Okay, things are literally getting riskier. So please be very much cautious about this move. And there is an indication for the last 2 weeks, and I've been telling it from the last 2 weeks, that dollar index will drive the market, and there is a clear indication that dollar index will move higher, or if it does not move higher, the stock market will consolidate for more going forward. It's not going to be a one-way move, because Dow Jones is not moving, NASDAQ is performing, and inside NASDAQ some stocks or the major stocks are performing. That will keep on pushing the stock market, because result seasons are going on, and once the result season fades away, obviously you need further more indicators to make the stock market move. So this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching.